You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe here. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Thank you for joining YHS on Monster Island. Jay, how are you?
You know, I'm good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, Mr. Walsh. I mean, and you know what? It's a lot of toy news and collectibles news, and I'm so lucky because I could have that conversation with the bigwig of Bandai, the patriarch of Playmates, a megastar of Marusan, his majesty of Medicom, the maestro of Mezco, and the masterful mogul of Mondo, because he wrecks bots so they'll stop buying. He's our host of YHS on Monster Island, Mr. Jacob Walsh.
Wow. Jay, listen, I'm going to tell you, I say this every time, I'm never going to get used to hearing those, I think, but also just then when you were doing that, instead of the like amazement, I started to be like, yeah, this is me. This is what I deserve. I think it might be going to my head a little bit. So
no, I think it's accurate. I mean, I all of these are come from a truthful place. These are all with a kernel of truth to all of them. There's no embellishment needed for your credentials, Mr. Walsh. But if you notice, our listeners wouldn't know this unless they had a time machine. But all of those brands that you are definitely a head honcho of, we're going to talk about them tonight. A little news. All of those have some relevancy in the episode tonight. So I tried to mix that in. But but I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Foreshadowing. Good, Jay. I want to point out for people who are watching, and if you're just listening to this, then you can't tell. But Jay, what is the shirt you got?
I lost a bet, everybody. No, it's a very well-known fact of my dislike for a certain movie, Godzilla 2000. But for some reason, I decided to wear a Godzilla 2000 shirt. This is, the cheap ones you can get at like FYE. This is not anything cool. Nothing from, T-Public by an amazing independent artist. No, this is commercial, cheap fabric, terrible movie. I'm just a horrible human being, and I'm hoping I can overcome it and have a good podcast tonight.
Well, I like it. I like that shirt. I like that shirt more than I like that movie. But I must have subconsciously knew that you were going to wear a shirt for a bad Godzilla movie, because I myself happen to be wearing one of the Taco Bell promotional shirts for Godzilla 98, which I want to say thank you to Rob Sosby, listener of YHS for a long time, just sent me this in the mail one day, and I love it. So
it's amazing. No, yeah, you win. Thanks to Rob Sosby. You win the t-shirt battle for tonight. I will, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It is hard. Like, I don't know which one I like less between these two. That is a conversation for another day, even though we kind of talked about it a little bit on one of our past episodes about when we kind of talk about the good and bad of Godzilla films. But you know what? We're going to overcome it, dude. Don't let these t-shirts weigh us down.
I don't want to like say what our next episode is going to be about, because we don't know yet. But like, I feel like the Godzilla 98 episode is going to probably be coming soon, because I feel like there's a lot to say about that movie. So
I actually
just putting that out there.
Yeah, I just rewatched it the other day. I say the other day, like 3 weeks ago, and I totally would be down for that. I mean, I think it might be. I might have to listen as a good source of somebody else that already broke it down to a certain YHS Prime Patreon episode where you guys talk about Godzilla 1998. I might have to go listen to Craig and Abby, the experts on Godzilla 98, to bolster up my opinions or my thoughts and my facts. It'll be a good listen.
Yeah. You can listen to them talk about the very first Godzilla movie they've ever seen. At the time, I don't think they had really seen much else.
Just feel sorry for them. If that's the first one, that's all you can do, Jake, at this point, is just pity those two poor souls.
Just put it out of your mind.
I know, right?
Dude, let's get into this. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, I have not watched any monster movies in the last 2 weeks, but have you?
Well, I watched a couple, I would say kaiju adjacent. We talk about that a lot on here about not just your classic kaiju, but I did watch one of my, everybody knows I love Ray Harryhausen, and I did watch Valley of Gwangi for like the 17,000th time, not a new watch. And so if you do care what I have to say about Valley of Gwangi, I did drop an episode on this feed. That's just me. It's a short one. It's bite size. It's 20 minutes where I break down the film and kind of my thoughts. I've always struggled with Valley growing up about where it kind of fits in that pantheon of Harryhausen for me. Like it never was quite up to like the Sinbads or Jason and the Argonauts or Clash of the Titans, but it wasn't, it was better than a lot of the other stuff, 20 Million Miles to Earth and all that good stuff. So I never knew. And like, I rewatched it and really just sat down and tried to like break it down. And it was very therapeutic for me. But if you want to listen to it, I would love for you guys to, and let me know your thoughts. But it's overall, I like the film. I love Gwangi, and it's a great concept, and Harryhausen just beautiful work in it.
That was a good episode, Jay. But part of me was kind of hoping you would have hated it, so I could do my version. You did make me. I've seen that movie many times, and I really love it. But you did make me want to put it back on and check it out, because some of the things you said about it have never really struck me, and some of the things about the motivations of the characters and all that stuff is always stuff. I saw that movie for the first time as a child, basically. Yeah. So like whenever you watch a movie, for the first time as a kid and you grow up watching it and you love it, you kind of ignore a lot of the stuff that if you watched it now would be like, that was stupid, So I kind of want to put it back on and like purposefully like try to watch it without my goggles on, and kind of
your Gwangi colored goggles.
Yeah, you made me think twice about it, and I was like, no, I want this movie to be a perfect movie. So
it's the thing is like it's also not only as a kid you do like have an appreciation for it. It's also like it's dinosaurs battling cowboys and elephants, and like
it's weird.
You can, character motivation be damned in a movie that has an Asian elephant against an Allosaurus, right? Like at the end of the day, like, so when I say that stuff, I'm critical, but as you can tell, like that's just the concept, and overall everything else is really beautiful, and I do love it. But at the end of the day, I do want to view this as a movie, and does it hold up to some of the other great stop motion films from Harryhausen? And that's the real question. Not if it's good or bad, because I think it's good, it's fun, it's exciting. So it's like I said, let me know what you guys think about it. And I'll probably do more of these as I just kind of watch films and I'm like, hey, I got to talk for 20 minutes about this.
Yeah, dude.
But honestly, no, go ahead. Sorry, Jake.
No, sorry. I was just going to say one of the things that you didn't mention that I was wondering if you were going to mention on the episode. And when you didn't mention it, I was like, oh, I wonder if Jay even knows this. Mm-hmm. Probably because I think you listen to YHS. So, but did you know that they basically used Gwangi for the model for the dinosaur in the video game Primal Rage?
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah. No. They basically it was sort of an accidental thing. And I read a whole history of how it happened. But if you look at stills from the video game Primal Rage, there's two Tyrannosaurs in it, or Allosaurs or whatever. And they just changed their colorways, but it's clearly the dinosaur from Gwangi. That
movie has so much like wide reaching influence. Like people don't realize, like it touches lots of things. So I'm so glad Valley of Gwangi exists. I really am.
It's great.
But honestly, Jake, I haven't watched a ton. I have a couple of things. Like I've been diving into a little bit of Tokusatsu. I've been rewatching the original Ultraman, so 66, not Ultra Q, but Ultraman. Yeah, the first one, just kind of like off and on. Not like I'm not sitting down saying I'm going to watch season one, but just watching a few. And I forget how uneven that first season is. Like there are some clunkers in there. Yeah, and there's some great ones too. The first 4 or 5 episodes are just on point. I love them. And then there's some just like, middle of the road ones kind of as you get to the middle. And then another show that I've been starting. So I'm not a Super Sentai guy. I'm not a Power Rangers guy. I know enough to be dangerous, right? Mm-hmm. I would never have a podcast on any of those, but I know enough to be dangerous. But I've never seen at all any of the original, like season 1 of of Super Sentai. So like that would be, I think it's a Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger. And like these have not been officially dubbed or officially subtitled in English. You have to find, there's a couple people like just that have their blog and they've like basically subtitled these, right, for the English speaking world. And so I've watched the first 7 or 8 episodes of the very first one. I think it's from the late 70s. And I love it. There's no giant robots. There's no giant monsters. It's really just they're fighting this kind of evil organization. It's there's like real death. Like they open up with scenes of just killing mass murders. The bad guys are kind of like Nazi-esque. The KKK looking like evil bad guys. Weird. Their finishing maneuver, how they kill people, is they basically pass a soccer ball and one guy jumps up and kicks it and it blows up the bad guy. It's amazing. So it sounds cool. It is. It's like low budget and gritty, but like I'm like really just into it so far. And once again, like it's a few years before we get into what we would think of as Super Sentai that would obviously be adapted for Power Rangers, and it feels like totally a different like franchise, but it's good. And so I've been watching a little bit of that. And then the last thing I watched, which I know you did too, I heard it, nothing to do with Kaiju, not even Kaiju adjacent, but I just have to say, took up some of my time, was I did watch the new anime, the He-Man Revelation, or the Masters of the Universe Revelations. As well. And I actually thought it was really good. So that's really what I've been watching this last 2 weeks. Yeah, dude. You know what? That He-Man Revelations is the very first He-Man thing I've ever seen. I was shocked by that because I love Masters of the Universe, but because I'm a little older than you, so it probably hit my wheelhouse a little bit more, and I dig it, man. But I thought it was I thought it was a great anime. Yeah, I did too, and I think one of the reasons I liked it so much is because He-Man's not in it. Honestly, like I've always like I gravitate towards the monsters and the weird looking and just like the whole look of He-Man. I never got into it. I always thought Skeletor looked cool. Yeah. I always thought like Moss Man looked cool, but I didn't know anything about him. I just never watched it as a kid. Yeah. I know we're going off of Kaiju here for a second, but you're gonna just chill out and listen to it. It's the shirts. They're clouding our judgment. But we do Toy Anxiety every 9:30 on YouTube on the YHS channel, and in doing so and doing that show, we had Dan on, and he's a big, Dan just put out Pixel Dan just put out that Master of the Universe book. Craig started getting into it, and one day the art just caught me, like the right piece of art caught my eye, and I started collecting the Masters of the Universe Origins line that's coming out right now. Have never seen an episode, but I was like, the villains here look really cool. I haven't bought any of the good guys because I think all the good guys look stupid. I don't like them. All the villains look amazing. So when this show came out, I was like, you know what? It's Kevin Smith. The voice cast is incredible. Yeah. Incredible. I'm going to watch this. It's like 5 short episodes. And I was like, oh, this is great. I like this. I like that He-Man's not in this. So, and I know a lot of people are freaking out over that fact, but fuck them. So, that's our, we're going to cut that part out and put our own little He-Man podcast out. I love it, man. I love it. So the fans want to know what we watch. And sometimes if it's not Kaiju, sometimes it's not Kaiju. Exactly. we watched He-Man. We're adults. So, God, let's get into toys. What did you pick up this last couple of weeks? Oh man, I had a few pickups, not a ton, but I think I got some good ones though. I'm really actually excited about my haul. The first one I got, you already have this, and I think you actually got the first production run. I was not as progressive and enlightened and ahead of the curve like you, but I got the second run. And where is this guy? Oh, here he is. He's over here, and that is from Rocom Toys. Death Jaguar. I did get this when I put the axe hand on him. So I did get this. It's almost identical to yours. I think there's a little bit of different coloring on the boot where it was clear, might be painted over. Almost identical, but it will always be the second run where yours will always be the first. So I love it though. I just wanted to have one. I love that figure. Support independent artists, support your independent sofubi artists. And the guy does great work. And there's a couple other Death Jaguars I have my eye on to maybe add a couple to the collection. And he does a lot of cool variants that are kind of quasi related to other properties, like Masters of the Universe and other things where, where those are like, he only does like 30 of them and you can't get them and they're expensive, but they are awesome looking.
Yeah, those are good. That's a good figure. I'm happy you got that.
The other one I got is a little bit of a cheat. You know how when I started doing Toku Toy Town, TokuToyTown.com, and you were like, you usually end up buying lots of stuff that you get for other people. Well, the first one happened. It went a little bit longer than I thought, but after I tried to sell him for a bit, he didn't go, and it's when I had my eye on, and I might have priced him a little high on because of that. So I had this excuse, but I got this lottery, this M1, the Golden Ghidorah from Space Amoeba. I love me some Ghidorah. So I got this one. This is the old Bullmark sculpt, the vintage one from the 70s. But M1 redid it for a mail away lottery. Actually, this might have been the mail away exclusive. But I love this one. It's a cool statue. It doesn't really look like the Ghidorah we see in the film on the sculpt, but that's Bullmark. You know, that's
that's a beautiful toy.
Yeah, I love it. And speaking of Bullmark sculpts, I can't even talk. You know, one guy that you hate that I love, Gorosaurus. I got another. This isn't the vintage one, even though it's the vintage sculpt, but I have the clear one with red and blue. It's the Princess Street exclusive from Marusan, and I have the vintage one from Bullmark in the 70s. This one is a glow in the dark. So this is my glow in the dark Gorosaurus to add to my collection of Goros. I love this guy. And then I had two other bigger purchases. So these are all good ones. I got two bigger ones. The first one is not a toy, and I don't know how I won't be able to show it on the screen because it's a little odd. But for those that might not know, I used to work many moons ago at Dr. Pepper, and also in the 80s, Dr. Pepper partnered with Godzilla to do some commercials, and I actually found somebody selling some 35 millimeter film of those commercials that they would run before films in a movie theater. So I actually have right here, and like I said, we won't be able to show it, but this is the Godzilla Dr. Pepper commercial 35 millimeter film that would play in front of a movie at a theater. So this one was a tough one to track down, but I got it. I'm super pumped. Don't have any freaking clue how to display it, but it's more of I have it and nobody else does. Ha ha.
Yep.
Ha. That's really why I got it.
That's amazing. I love that. I love those kind of collectibles. Just the like weirdest shit that nobody really wants, but like I love that. I gotta say about that Gorosaurus, Jay. I gotta be honest with you. That looks like something you would win at a fair.
Yeah.
You know, like when they used to get like you used to just have like weird bootleg dinosaur toys you'd win. That's what that looks like. And I love the color on that thing. Yeah,
it's kind of a milky white ivory, but like I said, it's glow in the dark. But yeah, you know, and that's not far off from when in Japan, you know, post-war, when they were going from die-cast to soft vinyl, and the idea in Ultra Q was actually the first license they got was to have to make the monsters less monstery and make them more welcoming and softer edges and stuff. And Bullmark was a few years after, you know, 1 or 2 years after Marusan really got to the market with that, but they followed the same kind of pattern. So yeah, they do look a little dopey or rounder and obviously not screen accurate, but also not fierce and menacing. So early sofubi is always going to have that bootleggy feel. And you like said, something you win at like ring toss at the carnival. And then the last one I got is a big one for me. I love this guy. If that's the limitations of sofubi in the 70s on sculpts, this is how amazing it can be here in the 2020s. And that is from Marusan, a Marusan 350 line from the Shinji, Shinji Nishikawa, sorry, I can't even talk. The Nishikawa art exhibit exclusive, 1989 Biogoji in this beautiful quasi-clear blue and purple with the red eyes. They did a short production run with red eyes. They followed it up with one with green eyes. This is the first one from the first Nishikawa. So I love it. And he actually pairs nicely with my clear giant Biolante that I have, also a Nishikawa exclusive. So this guy was a big win for me, big find. I love this guy. He's one of my favorite Godzilla sofubis that I actually own. Love him to death.
That belongs in a museum, Jay.
Yeah, I love it.
That's beautiful.
It's great. It definitely was one that I was like, I'm paying whatever it costs to get this. I just love it. It's a signature one for me. I'll put him next to my Dezugoji up there. But that's it. So once again, not a huge haul quantity, but I like the pieces that I got.
Some good stuff. Yeah, that's a good haul, man. I'm a little jealous.
Well, thank you. How about you, man? I know you bought some stuff.
I got a couple things. Yeah, you know what? As I'm thinking about it, I think we even like. Did I go on that trip to Indiana? Since we haven't recorded since I did that.
I think the last time we did, we were talking. You were still. I might have been right after your Philadelphia trip, or maybe we did an episode after that.
Wow, we did one right after that. Yeah. So I don't have the stuff I got in Indiana with me here because I didn't think about it. I didn't get much Godzilla on that trip, but I did find like a book, a kaiju book that's just like a random magazine. I found it in a thrift store.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was. I've never seen it. It has some cool art in it, so I picked it up. The one thing of note that I did pick up was I found a Trendmasters Godzilla figure in the packaging, and it's one of the little eggs, you know? And it's got an autograph on it. So I'm asking the guy, I'm like, hey, do you know who signed this? And he's like, well, I don't know. He was like, he told me some girl signed it from one of the movies. That's what the guy said to me. And it's in this crazy store I think it was in Kentucky. And it was like it was just like one of those stores where it was like shit on top of shit. And it's just like, he had bought somebody's Godzilla collection. And I'm like, well, how much is this thing? He's like, I don't know, $20. And I'm like, all right, well, first of all, $20 is pretty good for any Trendmasters figure still in the packaging. And it's got an autograph on the bubble. And I'm not one to get toys autographed, but I'm like, it's got a fucking autograph on it. I'm buying it. Yeah. So I bought it, and we did figure out that it was a suit actor. What's his name? It's
Tom Kitagawa.
There you go.
Yeah, the Millennium guy. Yeah.
Right. And I do have a couple autographs from him. But before I could even match them, we figured it out. So I thought that was cool. That's such a cool little thing to find. So stuff I have in front of me, I'm gonna knock out this right away because this is cool. I got from
oh yes, these are awesome.
K2 Toy makes these, and I bought them from My Plastic Heart, but it's it's like a cat wearing a Godzilla costume, and this is like Burning Godzilla. Comes with the little mini one. These are flopped, which I really love. Awesome. I wish I would have got. So I have the Mothra, and then the first one they put out was just like regular Godzilla, but I didn't know about it at the time, so I don't have that regular one. I wish I did, but I did just pre-order. They're putting out a set of 3 of these mini ones, like 3 different mini ones. And I pre-ordered that. It's not. Nice. I think it's not going to be out for a bit, but
those are really unique. Those are really unique and cool. And the fact that the face is flocked
they're flocked.
Nice touch.
I love those. So I found at a store. I was in Jacksonville over the weekend, Jacksonville, Florida, and there's a store called Awesome Toys Jax, something like that. And I found this. Godzilla White Castle Frisbee.
Yeah.
Which I'd seen this before I knew it existed, but I'd never seen it in person. He had it, and I was like, hey, man, how much for this Frisbee? And he was like, I don't know, $5. I was like, all right, I'll take it. So, but now I have to track down the rest of the white. There's they did some cups. There's an inflatable. There's a couple other toys. I'm going to have to track down the rest of the White Castle Godzilla stuff.
That's amazing.
That's a random find.
I wasn't aware of the promotion. We don't have White Castles down here in Texas. So we
don't have any here either.
Yeah. That's amazing, dude. That's a cool, one of a kind. Yeah.
Weird side story about that. When we were in Indiana, our hotel was pretty close to a White Castle. We don't have any White Castles in driving distance here. And White Castle has a really good vegan White Castle burger. Yeah. And every night it was 2 a.m. and we're like, guys, let's go to White Castle. So at that same store, I found these, which I was kind of unaware of what these even were. I saw this art, this kind of cartoony versions of the art for Godzilla versus Mothra.
The movie posters.
Yeah, it's the movie, but they're little model kits. And what's inside of them, they're basically all already put together. There's a couple pieces that aren't put together yet, but they're just these little like Mothra's wing just fell off. They're these like the little windy toys where you like pull them back. It's just a bunch of those. So there's a Mothra larva, King Ghidorah, and you can turn the King Ghidorah into Mecha King Ghidorah. You can have it be whichever one you want.
That's amazing.
And then each set came with a Godzilla, and each set also came with a couple buildings. Yeah. The buildings aren't put together yet, but the buildings are both like the Bandai building. There's like a little Bandai sign you can like stick on top of the building.
I dig it.
These were cool, man. I needed these for my like cute Godzilla collection.
That artwork is great. I mean, you buy for an empty box. I mean, really, that would like that box is amazing.
And, you know, the guy at the store was really cool, and he saw me looking at the Godzilla stuff, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'll knock some money off." I was like, he sounded like he didn't want Godzilla in his store, honestly. He was like, "Get this out of here."
Oh, poor Godzilla.
The next 3 items I want to show off, I got from the best kaiju store on the internet. Pick these up from TokuToyTown.com.
Oh yes, we're using promo code YHS10. Get you 10% off any order just because we love you at TokuToyTown.com.
So, Jay, you've been really generous in helping me find all these like lit goji things. They're kind of like hard to come by. You don't see them very often.
They didn't do a lot of rare stuff.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff. There's like the bigger banks. There's the smaller egg things, and then there's just like a bunch of random stuff.
Like keychains. They love their keychains.
A lot of keychains. But Jay, together, me and you are slowly piecing together this lit goji. This Space Godzilla is maybe one of the best ones. I think
it's my favorite. I have seen the pictures. The Mothra bank, like the 5-inch one, like that is pretty cool. But the Space Godzilla, I think, is my favorite one. It's so silly, and like the purple is like just so like disarming for it. You know, evil Space Godzilla. I love it.
This is great. Yeah. I'm very happy to have this. And along with that, Jay, you found this amazing display of lit goji pens and pencils. Some of these are pens and some are pencils. Mechanical pencils. There's I don't know, there's maybe 20 in here, and you got Rodan, Godzilla, Little Godzilla, Mothra, and Space Godzilla ones. And that's just beautiful. I posted a picture of this on my Instagram. And Jay, you posted a picture of these on the Toku Toy Town Instagram, and I was just like, I was so happy they were. I was like, I'm so glad those are mine.
Well, they're in a good home right now, the best home, as you become just the number one lit goji guy in the entire world.
That's me. That's me. I for some reason I got it stuck in my head that I really like those old. You know, I kind of like grew up looking at G-Fan, and anytime you find those old Godzilla magazines. That are, you know, Japanese imports, there's always pictures of the really cute Godzilla stuff. And I'm like, I want this. And, you know, I got those VHS. I've just become obsessed with the way those figures look.
Yeah. Between Godzilla or Godzillaland and that.
Yeah.
And
Godzillaland.
And then it was a Yamakatsu, the one they did in the 80s. So you got the cute guys. And then, of course, Chibi Gods, all that. Like, you put them all together. Like, there's more stuff out there. It's just hard to find.
Yeah, and it also pairs well with these like cat things.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
There's a ton of it. The last thing I got from Toku Toy Town, which I didn't even really know what this was. I saw
we sell to people that don't even know what it is. We don't care.
We didn't even know what it is. So it's this box, and it's this is Godzilla Land stuff, and it's like, you know, it's just got all the characters doing various things. Hedora's eating a sandwich here.
It looks like he does.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla and Gigan look like maybe they're dancing. Rodan's eating ice cream. I don't know, but I was like, I want this. So you were able to grab this for me, and when I got it and I opened it up, it's just full of packets. It's the entire box is full of. There's 3 different packets in here. There are these blue packets that they're all stapled as well. It's not glued; they're all stapled. There's something thick in here, right? And then there are these orange packets that are thin. I figured maybe they were cards or stickers. And then there's just one big packet. There's one big packet. So if you look inside the one big packet, you can see that it looks like there's just 2 of the orange packets inside there. I have not opened any of these blue packets, but you can see inside just enough to tell that these are buttons.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
These are all these thicker blue packets are buttons, and I kind of don't want to open them. These are from 1984. These are from before I was born.
Yeah, crazy.
And I just kind of don't want to open the, like, I want to see the buttons. They probably, it's weird because like you had some of these buttons in your shop and I passed on them because of the displayability, but but also I love that Godzilla's playing baseball on the front of these.
Oh yeah.
I did open one pack of the orange because there's a lot of these, and I just kind of pulled the staples out. And what is inside these are just they're little random cardboard cards, and they're double-sided. One side has Godzilla floating in space.
That's freaking amazing.
And the other side, he's standing on a stage with a microphone. They're not stickers, they're just cards. And I'm like, I really want to see the rest of these, but I don't want to damage any of it. So I was able to just pull the staple out without messing. If I really wanted to, I could just staple this back up.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just going to let it all be secret and not open any of it. I'm just going to display it. But
so can you, on the box, and I don't know if it'll be just in Japanese language or not, does it say anywhere? I think those are from a company called Yamakatsu. They might have an emblem that's like a circle, and it has Yamakatsu, like fancy toys.
It's on the front. Yeah.
So Yamakatsu is interesting, and I'm learning a lot more about this company. Like, so they got the rights, like in 1983 ish, for when Return of Godzilla came out, Godzilla, 1985 and 84. They actually, and it's a little bit, I don't know if it's controversial because I think it's clear cut, but it's just, you don't think of it. You always think of Bandai and like in 1983 releasing the King Goji, the 62 Godzilla as kind of the first vinyl of Godzilla that really started the Bandai Godzilla 8-inch collection boom and all that stuff. But actually, Yamakatsu actually released 3 or 4 of the harder vinyl figures, but technically, like, I don't know if it was weeks or months before Bandai. So that company did some screen accurate, kind of the first screen accurate Godzilla toys, as opposed to, we think of Sofubi, but Bandai really started doing that in the 80s. Apparently that same year, Yamakatsu was actually technically first to market on that. And I'm guilty of always saying that 62 Godzilla in 1983 by Bandai is the first screen accurate Godzilla, that really led to the boom.
Yeah.
But it's not. Apparently it's Yamakatsu. So those little cute Godzillas that look like the Godzilla Land guys, they actually did a true Godzilla toy as well. I think they did 3 or 4 different monsters. So I'm trying to learn more about them. I don't know a lot compared to like Bandai and Marmot and Bullmark and Marusan. So, but yeah, there's a connection there with those buttons and stickers.
Cool. Listen, people. That's why you listen to YHS on Monster Island, because it's not just all shit talking about which kaiju we think are stupid. Well, there's history.
There's a lot of that.
You're learning true kaiju history here. Thank you, Jay, for that.
No worries.
That was beautiful. Boy, I got one more thing.
Yeah, please.
But it kind of run right into our next segment here. We have a giant, Jay, first of all, thank you for compiling this, but we have a pretty big list of a lot of toy news, just merchandise news in general that has come out in the last couple of weeks. We're going to quickly go through some of it. We're probably going to spend a lot of time on some of it. But the first thing on your list is the Super 7 Shogun Godzilla reaction figure, which they revealed at their Comic-Con at home.
Mm-hmm.
I got one right here in my hand. This is it. Yeah. This is the first Super 7 got the Godzilla license. They're putting out Godzilla Ultimates. They're going to put out reaction figures. This is the first thing they unveiled, which I was surprised they were going the toy route, just remaking. And I wonder if the next reaction figures are all going to be remakes of toys. I hope they are.
Me too.
This is a beautiful figure. His tongue comes out. It looks identical to the big toy. He's got there's even a line around his wrist where his hand comes off. And the box isn't like the normal reaction packaging. It looks like the Shogun box. So like, this is all cool. This is a beautiful, cool little. This thing was like, I don't know, $20. Did you pick one of these up?
$25. Yeah, I did pick one up. Yeah, I didn't want to show it off because I knew you had yours.
Right.
I think, first off, what a cool idea and what a great execution and what a great price point. Like, triple whammy there. But I think the bigger question is what you raised. Like, what do they do next? I get the Ultimates. They're going to do probably their screen accurate, whatever, that's great. But the reaction was the one I was like, how do you do reaction Godzilla figures? But if they remake like iconic Kaiju toys or Godzilla toys, that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Hey, here's something that just popped in my head that I didn't even think of until right now. And this is the most stressful thing I've thought about today. So we're assuming that their Ultimates are going to be just based on the movies. Did they say that?
No, that's a J assumption.
Super 7's Ultimates are all remakes of like their Ninja Turtle line.
Yeah.
They're not making movie accurate turtles.
Yeah.
They're updating the toy line. Their G.I. Joe is updating the toy line. Toxic Avenger updating. What if we just get updates of the Trendmasters figures or something?
That would be hilarious. I mean, you're good point. Like, I'm not as familiar with Super 7 as you guys are. But that would be awesome. That would be great. I think you have a lot of different ways you could remake a lot of the Bandai ones, but Trendmasters would be hilarious.
I only say that because like Trendmasters is one of the only big, long, American toy lines or whatever. But who knows? I'm hoping that it's movie accurate figures because I think they'd be great. But yeah, so. Did you have anything else to say?
I was just saying, like, I didn't. I'm thinking that regardless if it's reaction or if it's Ultimates, like, there's a lot of like obvious ones to do. I mean, you got to do like the Bullmark Godzilla from 1970 that's featured in Smog Monster. You got to do possibly the Bandai 62 Kingoji from 83. Like, you have a lot of those. You have a lot of the Bullmark ones that are so iconic, like the King Ghidorah that, as you said, looks like cotton candy or whatever. I think ice cream. There's a lot of ones that you could do. I think in that little reaction size, I think would be kind of awesome.
I think so too, and it also kind of fixes. Like I was wondering. The reaction figures are always they're mainly humans. They're very distinctive look. Yeah. And I was like, well, how do you make Godzilla toys look like reaction figures? Do them as toys. That's how,
Yeah. No, it's just small. It's just mini versions. It's not like, you're right. Kudos to Super 7, man. Like their opening salvo after getting this license, which could have been a clunker because it's reaction versus their Ultimates, the first thing they unveil.
Yeah.
They kind of nailed it.
Yeah. I agree. Cool. So the next thing on this list, this was unveiled pretty recently. Mezco has released, dude, what is up with Mezco just like coming from behind
Sneaky.
With Godzilla toys?
Yeah. Out of nowhere.
Mezco has released a Mothra and the Showbizen twins box set, and the box looks like the box, and Mothra is flocked. Yep. And it's like, what the fuck is this? It looks great.
It looks great.
I ordered this immediately, especially because they're smart, man. Mezco released just no warning dropped that Destroy All Monsters, like 2 sets.
Yep.
A couple months back. And of course, Mothra is just a larva in that film.
Yeah.
So they released a regular Mothra that matches that the sizing, and now you got to get Mothra to go with your Godzilla. Did you pick this up?
I did, and I agree. Like, I wasn't expecting Mezco to be a player in anything, and then to Destroy All Monsters. Like, okay, well, these are cool. Like, I definitely want to be there at ground zero to kind of see how this line looks, and like they're picking good subject matter. We'll see how the execution looks like in person, right? On it looks great. Yeah. The Showbizen twins, like they look okay. It's tough. I get that's a tough sculpt. I don't think it's great, but Mothra,
it's not perfect. Yeah.
No, the Mothra looks wonderful. And so, yeah, I'm excited to get that and see kind of how that looks. And I will display it with the Destroy All Monsters, even though that is not accurate. I don't care. Like, it'll just be cool to have a flying Mothra in there. Yeah, for sure. So I thought it was good. I did pick it up. And once again, also not a terrible price point for what it is and kind of especially with the flocking and everything. I think it's a good price point.
I like that, there's extra pairs of arms, so you can do different. There's an extra set of heads, so you can put them in their singing poses.
I love that.
And you don't get human characters a lot. You know what I mean? You just don't. It doesn't happen. The only other Showbizen figures that I have are those little Barbie looking ones that came. They came with a Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla set. Mm-hmm. It's a set of those two figures, but there's a little case of, and I'm like, what? All right. But they look like Barbies kind of.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. There's just not that many humans. So
yeah, the M1 twins, the sofubi ones go for, they're about $250 a pop. I mean, they're not cheap. So that's the only other ones. And you're right. I mean, we have obviously not Haru Nakajima, but not that he's not a fictional character. Obviously, he's really him. Right. But yeah, you have Miss Namakawa. It's hard to find. They do have the black hole aliens from Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla, but that's really hard to find and expensive. And then you have Miss Namakawa and then the Showbizen, and that's really it. There's not a ton in that's not the Fubi form.
And hey, you can even talk about that X Plus. The D for real, the one that you just got, which I'm apparently never getting. Maybe I don't know.
Oh, your Dr. Sarazawa. Oh yeah,
my Dr. Sarazawa still hasn't shipped. Yeah, so who knows? I've seen that. There's other people they're randomly. I don't know if it's something to do with the distribution, but mine hasn't even charged me for it.
Yeah, I'm worried about Big Bad Toy Store. I get most of my stuff I get from Awesome Collector, but I did get my X Plus, the 92 Mothra X Plus from BBTS, and I'm worried that I'm going to be getting 17 months after everybody else. But I got some time on that one. But yeah, it'll
show up at some point.
I know. We'll survive.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next thing we got is this Bandai Godzilla store. Retro Hedora. Yeah. Some of the things on this list I didn't even see until right now. I didn't even click on this.
It's really, it's from the Bandai Movie Monster series line, the long running line, the 6-inchers. But it's in honor of the 50th anniversary, which was last month. Of Godzilla versus Hedora, which we got to talk about anniversaries here. There's 4 or 5 big movies that celebrate anniversaries in August. But anyway, Mothra, for July, Mothra, Destroy All Monsters, War of the Gargantuas, Shin Godzilla, you know that one. I know you hate that one. But this I know, right? But this retro Hedora was it's the same sculpt as the regular one, but it has this kind of this purpley blue tint to it, and that's a really cool colorway. It's like the Godzilla, the ride figures, it's a little overpriced. Now it's coming down. You can get it for $45-50. But it's 6-inch, it's Bandai. I mean, that's probably the upper end of what you're going to pay for a 6-inch for that, a normal one or a newer one. But it looks cool. I like it. I'll pick it up at some point, but I don't collect the Movie Monster series line. It's not my cup of tea, but this one's a pretty cool. It kind of walks a fine line between realistic Bandai and sofubi because of the colorway. So like
it looks good. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about Hedora. It looks cool, but whatever. Cool. So this next one is kind of a weird one. I know you are excited about this. Playmates has released photos of classic Gorosaurus and Rodan figures. Jay, I'm just going to let you take this. What do you think?
Well, I'm always glad to see Gorosaurus, and everybody has their opinion on Playmates. And look, I collect sofubi and X Plus, some of the old vintage Bandai, and some odds and ends, whatever. I'm not a Playmates collector. It's not my market. But you know what? And you can sit there and you can laugh at their Shin Godzilla sculpt or their Space Godzilla sculpt or whatever.
I will.
It's a $10 figure.
Exactly.
And we're sitting here in 2021. And a Gorosaurus is available at a national retailer for $10.
That's so weird.
It's awesome. And so like I want accessibility. I want everybody to be able to get a Gorosaurus and a Rodan, because guess what? They might see that, want to look up what he's from because he looks, weird. Like, this is an old school looking dinosaur. Like, they don't look like this. And then they watch King Kong Escapes. They watch Destroy All Monsters. They watch Godzilla's Revenge. And we have another kaiju fan on our hands. And that's really the goal of it. So I'm excited these exist. I actually think the Gorosaurus sculpt is one of the better Playmate sculpts.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered. But I'm not a Playmates defender. I'm not a hater. It is what it is. It serves its purpose. And I'm glad that they exist. But I'm not also like, I hate the people like, you can't like X Plus and also appreciate what Playmates does. I'm not in that camp. I think there's a place for everything. So I'm excited for it. I thought the Gorosaurus is great. And the Rodan, it's not my favorite sculpt.
It's not great.
but it's the original Bandai from the Godzilla collection of the 56 is not a great sculpt either. Yeah. So I feel Rodan, other than X Plus and those, I think it always looks a little goofy.
It does, yeah.
Both the 56 Rodan and the later, the ones from the 60s. I just feel it's a hard one to do. And it you know what? It's $10.
Exactly.
How about you, man? I'll pick them up if I see them.
I'll talk shit about Playmates all day, but then also I think about when I was a kid and I really loved Godzilla. I remember the day I went into a Kmart and saw the Trendmasters figures and I flipped out. And if I was a kid going in Walmart seeing that there were all these weird monsters on the shelf, I would be so happy about it. Yeah. So I can't really complain. No. Hey, and they're $10.
Well, you just think, Jake, there's a kid out there that's you, but now. Yeah. And that boy or girl are going to be able to see that. And they're going to, in 10, 15 years down the line, whatever is equivalent to podcasting now, they will be hosting a show just like you. Exactly. And because of your Trendmasters in Kmart will be there, Gorosaurus and Target from Playmates. Right. So I love it.
I've only picked up a few Playmates. It depends. I picked up Jet Jaguar because I had to. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this. I don't think this is on the list here, but right after that, they announced the next wave of Playmates, and King Kong 1933 is a part of it. There's a Megalon as a part of it.
There's a Megalon.
I can't remember the rest because I don't have it in front of me. And
isn't there a second Jet Jaguar? I think there might be a second Jet Jaguar. I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
I don't know, but there's a good. They went ahead and unveiled like the next
Mecha King Ghidorah. There's a Mecha King Ghidorah.
Yep. Dude, I want that Mechanicon. That's what they need to do. It's coming.
I will buy that because can't make a bad sculpt of that.
Do you have any Mechanicon figures?
I don't. I actually lost an auction on a Bandai from the original to go with my Gorosaurus and my King Kong. I do have the 93 King Kong and 93 Gorosaurus from Bandai, the Godzilla collection. They have a Mechanicon. I've lost in my life, I've lost 7 auctions on that guy. I can't. I have a ceiling on what I can pay for a Mechanicon, but I really want it. But they have a really good YMSF does a really good one as well. If you can get your hands on that one, it's a little pricey now, but I think it actually even goes less than what the Bandai goes. And of course, I'd love to get the original Bullmark, but that's a $400 purchase.
Shay, let's make a pact right here that this time next year we both just at least have one Mechanicon
deal.
Figure.
Well, let's make it like let's put some more skin in the game. Let's do it by next week.
No, to be honest with you, I'm looking as soon as we're done recording.
Oh, for sure.
Cool. What do we got next? Okay, a new the merch store for Godzilla Singular Point is up, and there's some stuff on there, man.
I thought of you when I saw this. I thought some of this stuff was right into Jacob Walsh wheelhouse. You have I love that you have the from the mural, that's in this Singular Point. You have this mini. The folding
I want
divider
that so bad.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I don't know how big that is.
I think it's small. I think it's relatively small. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that I want most out of all of these things. Of course, we got the plush Rodan.
I think that was cool. I thought that was cool.
Very cool. You see it in the show. I don't really buy any plush things, but this is it's different because it's like a prop basically. It's a prop from the show. I love it. There's a weird book bag. There's like a phone case, which is insane, and I need it.
Yes.
A Jet Jaguar patch. There's a shirt. The shirt is hideous, Jay.
Oh, with the singular point. It's like the all the scientific stuff in the show, you know. And,
the shirt's bad.
There might be some orthogonal agonalizing going on there.
There is. This is honestly, this is like a weird batch of stuff, but
oh yeah, it's so random.
I want all of it.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. There's some good stuff in there, but I was just excited that they were really still getting behind Singular Point and releasing new stuff and a variety of stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool news. And those, the super fans of Singular Point, which I think we both are, and excited for season 2. Like, there's more stuff than just the Bandai Movie Monster series figures to get. You can get plushes and backpacks and phone covers and mini blinds and all whatever else is there.
Yeah, I need those mini blinds. I'm kind of bummed they're not full size because I could use them at work.
Oh, that's right.
Whenever I'm tattooing and I'm like tattooing, somebody who wants to be a little more private, I could put those blinds up. So,
I dig that.
This next thing.
Yeah.
This is literally, I just opened this up on my phone.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen this toy at all.
Yeah.
Medicom Godzilla Vinyl Wars EX Godzilla 1954 lottery figure, and it said that it's a puppet version.
It's the Wignall, I don't know how you say it, style, which means puppet. Like that's just kind of the aesthetic. But so the big though, it's Medicom, and Medicom has the partnership.
Medicom. I said Mediacom because I was thinking about my my internet provider. Sorry.
But the thing about Medicom is like they had the partnership with the sculptor Anraku Ansaku, and he's like a thing, right? Like, there's so many sofubi enthusiasts that like, I'm getting the next Anraku Ansaku. It's like, it's, besides Yuji Sakai, it's like that's the sculpting line that they love, and he has a unique style, and some of the stuff, it's this is just one of the many, but they've released this figure that's just a little bit different and a little bit smaller already. It's a very, very similar sculpt, but this is the next lottery one, which is going to be a little bit different. I think it's a little bit bigger because it's the EX. But they have released this before. It's probably $150 figure, so the original one you can find on the secondhand market. I'm going to throw some out here. This is a hot take. This is something that might get me in a deep shit with a lot of sofubi guys. I'm not a big Anraku Ansaku fan. And he has lots of stuff. There's nothing there that I'm like, I have to have. I like this one. This is one of my like favorite ones that he does. There's a couple other ones that are okay. But like, if you've seen the Godzilla versus Hedora Godzilla that has like the tail that comes up, that almost looks phallic. It looks like he has a giant penis, but that's him, the flying one from the flying scene. That's Anraku Ansaku. He has a couple other ones. I just, like I said, it's an aesthetic that I don't particularly like as much as a lot of other people. I'm in the minority here. I get that, but this is one that, will I probably put my name in the lottery? Yeah, probably, but it's not one. It's probably worth the cost there, but I don't love it. And I'm just, like I said, I'm not an Anraku Ansaku guy when it comes to my sofubi sculpting. And like I said, I probably just lost as like 25 subscribers or download.
Yeah, we'll listen. We'll get them back. But
okay.
So I don't buy a whole lot of sofubi. Like I got a few. I've said this every single episode. Every morning when I wake up to the realization that I'm going to fall down the hole soon. Like, doing the show, seeing the stuff that you buy, it's like I'm seeing all these kind of like gateway figures where I'm like, oh, this is one I love, and I've been buying a few here and there. I got a few, and there's some that are on my mind. I love this figure.
You do?
I want this. I want it. Like, it looks kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like how weird and short. I like the puppet look.
Yeah.
I really like the facial sculpt on this guy.
So
I want this.
We can talk offline. This one obviously is still as not, the lottery hasn't even started yet, but I have a couple lines on one that's very, very similar, and I can tell you kind of what they go for. That's slightly different, and you might even like the paint job on that one even better. But yeah, I'm very proud of you because you already have what I think is the biggest gateway drug into sofubi, and that's the Haruo Nakajima M1. You have one of those. I feel like that's everybody's first to like open up the Pandora's box.
That was a grail for me, and I did. I want to say if you're watching or listening to the show, go back in our our archives aren't very long. There's only I think 22 videos or so. But if you look at the earlier videos on this playlist on YouTube, there's a couple videos in there that predate YHS on Monster Island, but are still Godzilla related. And there is a video of me kind of opening that Haruo Nakajima figure. It was a very special time in my life. It's a big day. So it was a big day. Yeah, dude, I love the way this thing looks. I'm into it.
So you'll have to check out his other stuff as well to see if there's other things that you like. Yeah, they're just hard to find or hard to get.
Right. Well, of course, that's always the stuff I like the most. Is the shit that's like you can't find it. The one I want to go ahead and put this out there, Jay. You know this, but like in starting to buy a couple X Plus figures, there's one X Plus that is my all time favorite looking. It's maybe my favorite looking toy of all time, and it's the X Plus Shin Godzilla second form. Second form, yeah. It looks amazing, and I want it so bad, and it's so expensive. Yeah, I mean, it's so expensive. It's like so hard to get. I haven't seen one for under 400 pre-shipping, even on like in Japan and stuff. Like it's just going up. I mean, it's not going to go down in price, dude. And I have a watch on like eBay, and on eBay it's insane. Yeah. It's like $700 to $900. Yeah. It's one of those. It's like, I don't know. You just got to be like, hey, I'm treating this as like a hot toy or whatever. Like if I can find one for $350, you're just gonna have to do it. You got to do it because like it just. I mean, I'm pretty. I watch a lot of stuff on the Japanese auctions and eBay and everything like that a lot, and it's a hard one to find under $4. Yeah. Now here's another. This next one, Jay. Yeah. US toys, or is it us toys? It's US toys. US toys. Yeah. The Art of Godzilla event exclusive figures. Now, let me say this. I also love and really want these. Yeah. These are beautiful. Yeah. All of these figures. It looks like there's a couple Godzillas here. There's Gigan, Baragon, Mechagodzilla, Hedora. These are just beautiful. Yeah. I like US toys. So we can agree on that one. You can keep your Anraku Ansaku, but I like US toys. I've bought some, I've sold some. I like them a lot. The Art of Godzilla exhibit or gallery or whatever show, I'm glad they do these exclusives. It looks like they look like all the other US toys. They're all this kind of like 3.5 inch, 3 inch, small, almost porcelain looking type monsters. They do they're very soft looking, you know. Yeah, they do ultra kaiju as well. But these are really cool. I've like I said, I've bought and sold some of the Baragons, but they have a cool series that you should check out called the Building Box series, where they come in little boxes that look like buildings. They're like hand-drawn cartoon buildings. Really cool stuff. But yeah, they all are kind of the same look and feel. I love these colorways, these paint jobs on this line. And I love that you can get the unpainted set, the clear like white one. So if you wanted to go and paint it yourself or whatever, you can. Like that one is really cool. But no, I dig it. And it's a cool line, and it's not super expensive. Like, what are the price points on these? So these for the exhibit, these exclusives, I think are like, I want to say they're for about $40, $35-$40, and then the full set's like $270. And it might be like 27,000 yen. But the original lines of US toys, you can get these for anywhere from $45 to $95, depending on what you're on. Yeah. They do some glow in the darks. They do some other cool stuff, but lots of Gigans, lots of Godzillas, lots of Baragons, lots of Hedoras, and Mechagodzillas, some really cool stuff. People don't talk about them a lot because they're one note. It's kind of this style of figure. But I like them. I like it too. Yeah, I'm getting into these right now. I want to pick some of these up. Yeah, I can. I have a couple good prices on some. I can let you know to hook you up with some people, and you get some really good deals on those. But yeah, and then the Art of Godzilla also did some exclusives. Marusan did some, and
the big thing here, which I just thought was, I mean, these are awesome figures, but it's the same Biollante that I got from the Nishikawa exhibit.
Yeah,
it's not as clear, and they did like some of the gold painting around the teeth and everything, but it's very, very similar. And then they did the one with the glow in the dark with like the pink-ish tone.
Yeah.
And then the Mechagodzilla glow in the dark, which was awesome. These are super expensive. They're going to be, the Biollante is going to be $350, $400 in the secondhand market, but they're big. But I like, these are cool. And I thought this, once again, like the US toys, exclusive to this exhibit. So, it's they would be fun to have. I don't know if I'll put them on my top of my list, but
I'm not a big fan of this Mechagodzilla. Like the Biollante always just has a built-in want for me, no matter what. This Mechagodzilla looks a little strange. I'm not a big fan of that sculpt.
I think that's the old Marusan sculpt.
Yeah.
I think they've just redone the old one, like the vintage one. So it's your classic look. But yeah, you're right. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's outstanding. They're selling you on the glow in the dark gimmick on this one. That's really the thing. I feel like glow in the dark's making like a huge comeback. But
it is, yeah.
But yeah, but I think all of these were great. The US Toys one were definitely my favorite of the two.
Same. Those are beautiful. Well, listen, we got a couple more here, and this next one's kind of a big one. So
the controversy.
Mondo has been teasing Godzilla stuff, I feel like, forever at this point. They've been, they've dabbled in Godzilla before, but they did that Pulgasari figure last year. They put out like a sofubi version of it, a couple different colorways, and I did pick one of those up. But they showed off this. I feel like a year ago they showed off some teases of this Godzilla that's coming out soon. Let's start with the Hedora, because this already went for sale. So on what was it, Mondo's like the Comic-Con drop. They did go ahead and release the cherry blossom variant of Godzilla and Hedora. I like both of these sculpts. I think both of these sculpts are really cool. The Hedora sculpt, it's kind of cartoony. His head's a little bigger. His arms a little smaller. I really love both of these sculpts. It's like the Godzilla Land one. it is. I did not even try to pick up this colorway. Did you? Oh yeah, I was one of the 100. Both of these were small production runs, like 150. And hey, no problem with that. That is sofubi. 150 is a lot for some of the stuff that we pick up in the world of sofubi, right? I mean, you have a 30 production run, not a problem. The challenge was everybody, like I had it on, I was hitting refresh 3 minutes before, had it in the cart, and of course, like everybody else that's listening to this that tried, wasn't able to secure it. The rumor is that all 300 of these, 150 for each of the kaiju, went to 6 different buyers, and most likely those 6, obviously human buyers, utilize bots to do it. So is that true? That can't be true. I mean, it's not verified. I just know that there's probably 50, 60 people that I can verify that had it in their cart immediately. Yeah, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second. Well, I want to one thing on that. Like, it sucks. I wanted that. I wanted the cherry blossom Godzilla and the Hedora. I think it might be because of, dealing with other non-Godzilla toy lines. Yeah. We're used to this. This is not like, this is not anything new. It just sucks, but it's not, I wasn't throwing up a huge fit about it. It was like, okay, like, I'm not going to get the cherry blossom unless I want to pay $200 for it. The end. Like it's NECA Ninja Turtle. If you collect NECA Ninja Turtles, this is like just the norm. Here's the thing. So Mondo is new to getting into Godzilla. So I feel like some of the Godzilla community that doesn't cross over into what Mondo normally does probably doesn't know this, but Mondo is mainly known for doing posters and prints. And I've been in that world for a couple of years now. I'm big into buying, the posters and prints. Every single drop that Mondo has ever done sells out in minutes or less. Everything. And you got to think like you probably got people who aren't even Godzilla fans parents.
Yeah.
Coming in to buying this up because they're Mondo, because it's Mondo.
Yeah, it's Mondo.
And most of what they do, you can get on there and like, you know what? I think you can still get on there and buy a Pulgasari figure, but you know what? There's only 5 people in the world that I think might know what Pulgasari is. But it is nothing. You got to imagine when it's a company like Mondo that's really big, you know, they've always partnered up with like the Alamo Draft Houses. They're a big, Mondo is a big thing in the like niche art community. And there's a lot of like big artists that work for them. You know, Jason Edmondson is becoming a huge artist. His art is on everything now. And it's all because of Mondo basically. But when there's 150 figures, and you have a company as big as Mondo, and everybody knows how Mondo works. You have to already be signed in. You got to have that shit. You got to have luck on your side.
Yeah.
And you just have to be able to do it faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because if you got 400 people all trying to buy 100 toys, it's going to sell out in seconds. So when that happened, I was just like, yeah, of course that's what happened. That's what happens every time. When I buy posters and shit on Mondo, I get Craig to help me. Craig of Yes Have Some Fame. He has to help me because sometimes you need 2 people, and like it happens all the time. Anytime there's something that me and Craig are both trying to get on Mondo, there'll be days where like I'll get it and Craig's like sold out before I could get through the thing, or we both miss it, or you know, so like, you know, Mondo's been posting, they've been doing a lot of Godzilla prints lately, and I've been trying to get all of them, and I've been Craig, get me the variant of this poster because he's just a little better at it than I am, you know. But it didn't surprise me. I thought it was completely normal. I'm usually the kind of person to roll my eyes when people yell bots, because like that's always the go-to when you're not fast enough to get it. And I understand that it sucks. Yeah. But it could have been. I had not heard this rumor about 6 fires. I had not heard that. It could be true. But Mondo has also, I know they've tried in the past to figure out ways to block bots, because it has been a problem before. But that's a long way around to say like it happens. Basically.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point. It's like I think it got so much backlash because I think to your point, the cross section between somebody that cares about sofubi and probably is a true sofubi fan and those that have Mondo experience, have experienced a lot of these things selling out so quickly. Because remember, yes, there's short production runs in sofubi, but a lot of times it's a lottery. It's not a who can click the fastest, and bots aren't in there emailing AG Kaminaga at Marusan saying, "Hey, I want this lottery exclusive," right? So they it's just different worlds, and that was the big thing. It's like because you have these huge groups of these sofubi enthusiasts that were still they were on the fence about Mondo coming in and kind of introducing this sofubi style, and they're like, "Screw those guys! This is not how I buy my sofubi." And also. It just in a broader topic, whether it's scalpers or bots, the market dictates it, man. Like at the end of the day, like if people aren't going to pay $250 or $300, 2x markup on these things over time, guess what? People aren't going to spend their resources to either scalp them or apply their bots to them because that's not their most profitable thing. So at the end of the day, like we'll see if these things are worth $250, and if they are, guess what? You're just going to have to learn. You're just going to have to pay.
You're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. I will say of all the releases. The Cherry Blossom one I did like. That Miami variant of Godzilla, though, I will pay the $200 for that one or whatever the market is. I love that one.
Well, dude, I want to say, like, before we get off of that, if you're trying to buy the Hedora and the Godzilla, it's impossible. Yeah. Like, that's just gonna you have to, if you want both of the same, if they're being put on the drop on the same time, and you want both, you gotta pick one or have someone else get you the other one, because there's no way to get both. I'm
actually looking up to see what these things go for right now. I'm very curious.
I'm probably on all of the Hedoras. I don't. But out of the gods, there's 5 here, and I think the one that I want the most is probably to the what am I trying? To most of the sofubi buyers, it's probably the most boring one. I just want the 1984 variant. I want the one that's painted like he actually looks. And that's also the one that there's more of. Yeah. So I have a better chance. I think there's like 350 of that one, and it's the highest production number. So I probably have a better chance of getting the actual one I want as far as the Godzillas go. For sure. Are you seeing any?
Yeah, it's about anywhere from like 200 to 300. Like I've seen some good things sell for 235, 280 in that range, which we kind of.
Like, what was it? It was a $95 figure. 80.
Yeah, it was a 95, 80, something like that. $80 to
$90.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you take off your 15% eBay fees and stuff. You're still making a good profit if you can sell those. And the thing is, like, I mean, you look at it. There's 6 or 7 of them have sold, so they're probably doing okay. There's not a ton on there, but yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm like you. I roll my eyes on that a little bit. It sucks, and like I feel for anybody that wants something that they can afford and they can't get it. I get it. That's part of it. But it's also just like, at the end of the day, that's collecting anything, and that's always going to be there. You're going to have scalpers, you're going to have bots, you're going to have.
That's what's fun about collecting. I don't want everybody to be able to get it.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, like something that you've strived for and you somehow got it months later feels way better than me just putting my pre-order on Awesome Collector. And hey, for a lot of those hard to find sofubi, go to tokutoytown.com.
He's got them.
I don't have any Mondos.
Dude, so another thing that Mondo's doing, I like this idea. I've never been a statue buyer, but they're doing a thing. They're calling it the Godzilla Museum, and they're putting out a small scale statue series. And they went ahead and they showed off. Well, geez, they showed off 3 that are actual pictures of the statues, and then they showed off a couple concept arts for a few others. One of the things they're doing here is that some of these are going to be based off of artists' renderings. Yep. Yeah. So they showed off one that's based on Attack Peter's prints. He's been doing Godzilla prints for Mondo for a while now, and it's all like kind of wood cut on
the block, on
cloth, and it's a really cool look. And I think that look it translates very well to a figure. It's almost like a tiki inspired look, and it's what's this? It says with the base they're about 8.5 inches tall.
Not bad.
No price points on these. They didn't release any of that. There's so far there's the Attack Peter Godzilla. They are releasing just the original 1954. The one that I'm excited about and the one that I will try to buy is they're putting out the 1970s Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, which there's 0 merchandise for that. There's no figures. This is the first and only, I guess, official figure of that. And I think he looks pretty cool. What do you think of these?
I love all of it. And I'm not a statue guy either. I love this one. I will definitely get the Godzilla cartoon one. The 54's okay. I'm hopefully here any day now getting my 54 Gigantic X Plus. Like I have a lot of 54s. I don't know if I need another statue.
I think after you get that gigantic 54, I feel like once you have that in your hands, you're gonna just laugh at every other 54. Anything, you're just gonna be like, "What is this trash?"
But to me, I think the Attack Peter one was my favorite. I really do. I want that piece, and I think those two, that and the Hanna-Barbera, will be the two that I'm going to try to get. Once again, if they're $700, I probably won't. But if they're a decent price, they're.
Dude, that size, with it being so clearly, we don't know what the production numbers of these are going to be. Usually, Mondo's statues. Mondo has a statue of the kaiju from Colossal. Still, last time I looked, there were still some available. Oh, wow. I think it was 9 inches, and it's like $75 or something like that. Awesome. I want to say like. My guess would be like maybe 120 a piece because they're Godzilla, but I don't know what the production numbers are going to be on these. So that could be, I could be completely wrong on that, but that's just my guess. Other than that, they went ahead and showed off, they're doing a King Ghidorah. that comes with the Dorax. And it's like,
talked about that one.
Well, I'm like, hey, I don't want the King Ghidorah, but I want those fucking Dorats, dude. And they also showed off like a concept of Tokyo SOS Godzilla, which I'm not a big fan of this.
So I get what I'm seeing is like, so the Attack Peter, the Hanna-Barbera, and the 54 are the Godzilla Museum small scale statue series, and then the Ghidorah, it comes with the premium of the Dorats, and this SOS, which comes with like the Mothra larva. That's the premium scale statue because they have that little extra component to it. Yeah. So I'll have to see. I like the Tokyo SOS one. It would be below the King Ghidorah with the Dorats for me as well. But I think it's a cool sculpt if they have it like with the larva. The concept here has like the larva wrapping around, Godzilla shooting the webs. That could be really cool. But yeah, I agree. It's not as like, oh my gosh, this is something we haven't seen before. It's kind of just a variation of it. But we'll see. Yeah. I mean, if it's premium, they might do some cool stuff with it. I've always been a fan of Mondo, and I'm happy they're getting into anybody doing Godzilla stuff. It makes me happy. I'm not one of those kind of people. I'm not one of those people who thinks like, oh, they're diluting it. We shouldn't be making, there shouldn't be American sofubi. No, shut up. I want everybody to make Godzilla toys. Mondo has put out, they put out that record pretty recently. There's just so much. I have another Todd Whalen Godzilla versus Mothra poster coming in the mail at some point. There's a lot of good stuff, man. So I'm excited that Mondo's getting into it. I always laugh when somebody that's a Godzilla fan, it says it's oversaturated. I mean, do you know what Godzilla collecting is? I mean, do you know how many companies do Godzilla stuff? Like, I mean, it is the study in get everybody have a chance to make their own toy and let the best one win. I mean, come on. I mean, it's
weird. Yeah. It's weird because you think about how stingy. I don't want to say the word stingy because that sounds like it's rude or something, but the way Toho is about the rights with Godzilla and like how they will take your YouTube video down or, it's like, it's known how they are about Godzilla's like copyright and all that. But as far as toys go, they're like, fuck it. Let them all do it. Let anybody who wants it. I don't give a fuck. Just give me that money.
Yeah. And I love it. I think as collectors, like it could, if you're a completist, we talked about this in our toy episode, not the franchise, the property to follow. But but you know what?
It's impossible.
It has so much stuff. You can find your niche and you can just roll with it. I mean, you're going to build a collection that's just cute variations of Godzilla and Kaiju. Yeah. And you can do that for your whole life and have an entire collection.
Dude, not to jump off of this topic, but like one of the things I love about that is, being in, a couple like collectors groups on Facebook, Godzilla groups, is that people will post, somebody will say, here's my Godzilla collection. Right. And whether it's a giant room full of Godzilla stuff or one shelf, I'll look at this picture and be like, I have never seen any of this stuff. And I've been collecting Godzilla my entire life. I've never seen any of this. And the fact that can happen over and over and over again, who wouldn't want to collect Godzilla? It's like you can have a unique collection. It's not like you're collecting Marvel Legends and you're like, oh, we all have the exact same collection. That's one of the best things about it.
And now there's a lot more US companies and non-Japanese companies getting into the mix. And it's going to make it even more diverse.
Exactly. Because people have finally, we're getting smart to it. People are finally like, hey, Godzilla's cool.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, 100%. No, I love it. And Kaiju it's a big thing, man. It's less about the movies now. It's almost like not a way of life, but like it is an artistic choice to display Kaiju in various forms. It's like it's a cool accepted medium and subject matter. Whereas, I don't think we understood that 15, 20 years ago. So I don't know. It's cool. We get to benefit from all of it. So it's great.
Exactly. Cool. So we got one more thing on this list, and I've been excited about this. And I guess we talked about this a little bit when they dropped the first, but Cavity Colors got the license to Godzilla. We talked about this, and they did drop the 1954 collection a couple weeks ago. And I was kind of unprepared for how close behind Godzilla 54 they would be releasing Godzilla, Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
It released today. I already bought my shirts.
I love it.
I thought it wasn't going to be until Friday, but then I got the email this morning. The Shin Godzilla collection has dropped.
That's amazing.
Jay, what do you think of these?
So the shining star of this collection, I'm pulling it up, make sure that I didn't miss any. Those pants, dig the Shin Godzilla pants. I have to say that was by far my favorite. No, I thought it was good. You know, the Shin Godzilla's design is just so unique and cool. And I know I think it fits like you with your horror vibe and like just this kind of like, you know, it is kind of just this gross, you know, looking design, and that's why it works. I think it's perfect. I can totally see why you dug these shirts, but I think they're well done. I don't know if I'll pick up any, but those pants are pretty enticing, dude. I like those pants.
They are, yeah. It's just like, it's rough when it's like, I bought two of the shirts from the 1954 collection. I don't know. It feels like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 3 weeks ago I bought those. And t-shirts they're starting to get expensive, dude. Yeah. And I think so. One of the shirts I bought from the 54 collection is like the baseball tee, which is like, I don't know, it was like a $35 shirt, you know? So it's like you buy two shirts with shipping, you're paying over $60. So I bought those, but I was like, I knew Shin was coming. I know I'm going to buy it. I picked up two shirts today. I bought just the red one with, you know, the kind of classic image. And then I bought that purple tie-dye because it reminds me of like, it looks like those 90s t-shirts with the animals really big.
Yep.
It's got that kind of airbrushed feel to it.
Oh yeah.
And it's the, you know, the scene where Godzilla unveils his atomic breath.
Oh yeah.
I only bought those two, but I do want the pants. And also I passed on the shirt that has like my favorite form of Godzilla of all time on it, because I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I'm about to spend, it came to like $67 or something for two t-shirts. And I was like, do I want to buy a third shirt and spend like $100 right here, right now, just on shirts? And my answer was no. But the reason I didn't buy any more is because I looked back and all the 1954 collection, it's still available. They're not like limited. You can just buy it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy these two because they're my favorite. I'll think on it. And then if I need to, I'll just come back up here and buy the other one. So
have they announced what the next film they're doing? Because that could be a big thing. Because if it's something that might not be as big of interest to you, like then maybe you do go back and get the second film with the second forms in there.
So unless I missed it, they haven't announced it yet. But I wonder if every film is going to get a full collection.
Yeah.
Or if like, you know, the next Godzilla collection is from 5 different movies or you know what I mean? I wonder if, you know, the original 54 and Shin, you know, they did it was the Shin anniversary this week or this month or whatever. So those I feel like could benefit from a full collection, but I don't think every film in the series would be something that needs an entire collection on. So I wonder where they're going to go from here. I have no clue.
TriStar 98 is going to be next.
You know, I mean, you're joking, but you know they're going to do it at some point. And they're going to come out with a shirt that's so stupid looking that I'm like, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy another Godzilla 98 shirt.
I've already told you, like, the biggest thing I'm excited for isn't like what they do with 54 and Shin and these that have like a lot of stuff already that's out there, right? And you know it's going to be good. I'm excited for when they do Godzilla's Revenge. Because I want to get one of those, or a Terror of Mechagodzilla shirt. That's what I'm looking forward to and see, because they do such good stuff. I'm excited to see what they can do with some of the more obscure, less popular films or stylistic looks than like, you know, Shin and 50. You know, you just knew like these were going to be awesome. Like you can't mess with that. But like we'll see what Godzilla's Revenge. If hopefully we get one with Minya and Ichiro, I will buy that one and wear it every day.
Man, there's an abundance of Godzilla shirts available right now, and not just by the bigger companies, you know, like Cavity Colors. I have so many Godzilla shirts like saved on Etsy that I want to pick up, and you know there was
and TeePublic's a great place to go.
TeePublic, you know, Kaiju happened, and a lot of artists did. They had prompts for each day, and I feel really bad because I can't remember which artist did this off the top of my head, but one of the artists for every month of June did a Godzilla, but he focused on a human character from the movie. So it was like a human character with the corresponding kaiju kind of behind it. Mm-hmm. And, he did it for like every day of the month, and half of them are like must-haves, basically. It's a lot of just things you don't see. And I was like, these are all beautifully done. And I went on to Etsy and I like hearted a bunch of them because I want to buy them, but it's like, we're just getting punched in the face with Godzilla stuff, and I love it. It's a good problem to have. So
it's a great problem to have.
I'm excited for Cavity Colors to keep putting more stuff out. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get I wonder if it might be longer in between. Maybe these were so close because they wanted to get Shin out on the anniversary, but who knows? We'll see.
And a good idea to gauge interest. Like it's one of these, like if they can't sell a ton for 54 in Shin, then maybe it's not as popular as they thought. And if it does, then it's like, okay, maybe we have some wiggle room to explore some of these underrepresented films or looks and styles. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't work at Cavity Colors.
We'll see. I feel like they could just do a Showa collection and just do, I wouldn't doubt it if 85 got its own collection just because that's kind of a big, but we'll see. I'm excited about it. Real quick before we wrap up here, we had this on the, in our notes to talk about, and I don't know how big of a conversation we could get out of this, but I was just wondering, where do we think what's happening? What is happening with Godzilla? Like, I know it's really big in merchandise and toys and clothing right now.
Yeah,
but the MonsterVerse, Godzilla vs. Kong is out. It's done. Mm-hmm. As far as we know, there's not another American Godzilla coming. We know that there's not a sequel to Shin Godzilla coming. We did just get Singular Point, but I don't want to really count the animes or the cartoons right now. I'm just thinking about movie-wise.
Yeah.
What do we think's happening? Like, do we think Toho is thinking about gearing up to maybe start the movie series back? It feels like, there was a good time period in between the Showa era and the Heisei area of Godzilla films. There was a shorter break in between, Heisei Millennium and all that, but like there's always kind of a break. And I know Toho, Shin Godzilla was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a break.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, obviously everything's conjecture at this point, right? And it's like walk the fine line between what I think is realistic and what I would personally like to see. I do think you do, like, I agree about Legend. I think the MonsterVerse continues. I don't think it continues with Godzilla for the foreseeable future. I think Kong is the star. They made a good pivot to him at, he starts and it opens and closes Godzilla versus Kong. They can run with him. Obviously, he's not a Toho property. A lot easier. Bam. I think that's where the MonsterVerse goes. Whether Godzilla comes back into it 5-10 years down the line, who knows? I think it'll depend on how well Kong does at the box office. But I do think it continues without Godzilla. I do think I'm excited about Singular Point continue on. So you have, I think, America. No, you have the Netflix, the anime series. Yes, you have that kind of in the background. You're going to have this new stuff, all this crazy stuff there. What I hope Toho does, and what I have a feeling it's going to go back to, with seeing the designs in Godzilla the Ride. You talk about one of the things you love about Godzilla is that, or Toho recently, is like they're like do weird stuff, right? Like Shin Godzilla, just think outside the box, bam, home run. Singular Point, think outside the box. The anime film trilogy, it's outside the box, whether you like it or not. It's outside the box, right? Godzilla Earth, all that stuff. I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit of Back to the Future here, where I think I would like to see, and I think we're going to get a classic Godzilla style movie next from Toho. I think it's going to be a Godzilla versus something. And I hope, looking at like the Godzilla, the Ride design, like a classic, this is not a weird interpretation of Godzilla. This is just an updated, cool, smash them up. And my hope, I don't know if they'll do this. My hope is that we'll get some more original, titular villains. Like I want more, like when we saw Batra and when we saw Mecha King Ghidorah, when we saw, which is kind of a little bit of a cheat, but Destroya, and even though they bombed Megaguirus and Orga, like Space Godzilla was a great one. You know, they say like, I want to see Godzilla in a classic Godzilla style movie, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them with new evil monsters to battle, or good monsters and he's evil and whatever. That's my hope. And I do think that they'll go back to that. I think seeing what they did with the ride was that's my little carrot they're dangling in front of me, that they're going to go a little bit classic Godzilla.
Yeah. I like that take. I just hope they finally make that Godzilla versus Ghost Godzilla script.
Yes, the Ghost Godzilla, or a legally approved Wolfman one or something.
Exactly. That was sort of a joke, but I would be into that. Yeah. No, I like that way of looking at it, or hoping it goes that way. I want to take it a step further.
Okay.
I want whatever they do next to not just be a standalone one movie. They've been kind of playing around with that a little bit, going back and forth. You know, Shin Godzilla was a one-off, and even as much as I love Shin Godzilla, it's one of my favorite interpretations of Godzilla of all time. I kind of like that it's a standalone movie, and I think that ending is so powerful.
Yeah.
That a sequel would maybe cheapen it. Yeah. So I'm okay with them not moving forward with that. I would also like what you're saying. Let's see just a straight up Godzilla film. But I think it will be cool if tomorrow they said, hey, Toho is gearing up for a 5-movie Godzilla series, and it's going to be a classic 5 movies that all loosely, you know, are in continuity with each other. And then after that 5th one, maybe they'll end it and then do something else. You know, like that's kind of exactly that, you know, kind of have the same look to Godzilla throughout the next few films, and just kind of go for it. I know I'm a little worried about whatever's happening with Shin Ultraman.
Yeah.
And I know that's not quite Godzilla, but they're going to keep or another, you know, that's going to be a weird movie. It just is. So I'm hoping that is still on track and still happens. Like you said, the animes, we're going to get a 2nd season of that. And I'm excited, but I like the American Godzilla films, but I'm okay with them being without Godzilla for a little bit. I'd also be fine if Toho just let us make movies the same time they were making movies. I don't know why that's always been such a big issue with Toho, where they're like, we have to work it out where your movie comes out and then who cares? It's not the same audience. Like, I mean, it's the same audience, but we don't live in Japan. It's not like us seeing, it's not like us going to see this is going to mess up the numbers of that. So yeah, man, that's what I like that. Just give us some, just give us some Godzilla.
I mean, and also, I mean, I think we're long overdue for Godzilla working himself into Yamato Takeru too. I think that's one that we see. If I have to fantasy book and I can't bring over a Gamera from the other studios, like I'm gonna Godzilla and Yamato Takeru. I love the experimental Godzilla. I mean, the anime trilogy I didn't love, but the anime Singular Point I loved, and Shin Godzilla is awesome. Like, I like what they're doing, but I also feel like it's probably the right time to maybe go back to see if a classic, you know, just kind of old school Godzilla film could work.
Yeah.
By Toho, we know like some of the legendary stuff was kind of in that vein, 100%, but some of it, not all of it. But I really want to see if Toho can do one of those films again with an updated Godzilla and updated bad guys. I mean, I feel like they need some new, good, evil monster. Like that's.
I get what you're saying. We need a new, like we've talked about this before. You got your Mechagodzillas, Mothra, King Ghidorahs, the small group that everybody loves, and then you got everybody else. But it's like we need a new monster that can fit into that Mothra, King Ghidorah. Give me somebody new that I'm gonna love forever.
Yeah,
not another Orga, not another
Megaguirus.
Not another Megaguirus. Like, give me a well thought out, cool looking, but classic looking kaiju.
Yeah, Well, the other one was, I mean, they could go off the momentum of Hedora's 50th anniversary. Now people seem to be digging that, and we could finally get the either the Bono never produced Godzilla vs. Hedorah 2, which we'll never do, but or the one he talked about where he can go to the planet of Hedoras and just fight them. That would be an okay recycling of a monster. But I agree. I just want something new because I feel that they've bombed in the Millennium series on the newer monsters, and I just I'm not as big of a Destroyer as a monster. The film was great, but Biollante is it the last great new, non-Showa villain?
Yeah.
I think, and no, Biolante's not even the villain. I mean, technically, right? I mean, monster opponent to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Opponent to Godzilla. Is Biollante the last really great one? I love Batra. I love Space Godzilla's design. But like at the end of the day, I think it might be we need something at least on that level. That could be a new kind of in the rogues gallery of Godzilla opponents.
I agree. Here's a wish list thing that I want to happen. That 2 years ago, you would have called me a crazy person, but now after Singular Point, I want
everything
a live action. I want a live action trilogy. A trilogy. Live action Jet Jaguar trilogy. Yes. He's the hero, and he's in 1 and 2. He's fighting other creatures. There's no Godzilla here.
Yeah,
Jet Jaguar growing and kind of keep the classic look or whatever. It could even be the Singular Point Jet Jaguar. I don't care. Yeah. But live action. But in the third movie, he needs help.
Yeah,
and Godzilla comes in, and the third film is a Jet Jaguar Godzilla team up against
Megalon and Gigan.
Hey, there you go.
I would love it. I think that we joked about, like, I would love to see that in the first one. As Jet Jaguar goes to Seatopia, and you get the
God. He just shows. Hey, what if like, oh, hold on. Here's just me being John Yerkeba. The first Jet Jaguar movie has a cold open. There's no credits. The movie opens. Jet Jaguar is giant. He dives down to Seatopia, and they're all like, "What the fuck? I thought we had a treaty."
Yeah.
He walks up to Megalon, punches Megalon in the face,
punch.
And then it just cold cuts to Jet Jaguar, and the rest of the movie has nothing to do with that. It's just showing that Jet Jaguar is a badass and he doesn't give a fuck.
And it's Seatopia be damned. No, I love it. I think
he looks at his watch. It's time to punch Megalon in the face.
I mean, I feel like after Singular Point, and like, I think people were realizing like it was a missed opportunity here with Jet. I think Jet is like the next, like they can do something.
He's a star, dude. Yeah, for sure. They could. I don't know what the plans are, and clearly there's going to be another season of Singular Point, but I think that show really showed that people love that character.
Yeah,
and it feels. I've said this before, but it feels weird to know that my like weird love for that character is not just me. You know, a lot of people really love Jet Jaguar, and this proved it. So
I agree, and I think him and Mechagodzilla in the second season. I'm telling you, man, that's like it's just perfect because they're kaiju related because they're in these kaiju films with these two big mechs. Like, I mean, you know, with the Japanese film goers and TV viewers love their giant mechs battling each other. So I think it's a great move. And I agree. I think there's a lot of versatility with Jet Jaguar. And I would love to see a live action, whether it's one movie, a trilogy, or 10
anything.
Movies, just something with
give him
Jet
his
Jaguar.
own. No. Can you imagine like an Ultraman style show, but instead of Ultraman, it's just Jet Jaguar? Same thing, it's just Jet Jaguar.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Toho. Excuse me if you're listening. Please hire us to write your Jet Jaguar movie. Thank you.
I don't know if you want me writing it. It might get a little weird
That's fine, dude. It needs a little weird.
No, but I think that would be awesome.
Out of the two of us, you're the writer, Jay.
Yeah, but I couldn't do this. Even though I did write a book called How to Battle Giant Monsters with a Drunk Space Ninja. But other than that, but one of the things you bring up with the Jet Jaguar is like what I'd love to see Toho do next. If that was the question, not Godzilla, I would like to see another monster or Jet Jaguar get their own little spinoff, their own little show. I know they're probably a little skittish after Mothra, right? The Rebirth series, but could we not do that with somebody else? Whether it's Mechagodzilla or Jet Jaguar or whatever. Like, I would love to see another monster get some, or Jet Jaguar get some shine for a few movies. And I think it would really stretch the creativity to be able to do that. And I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I haven't watched that Mothra trilogy in a long time, but I don't have awful memories of it.
The second one is the only one I can't watch.
I need to give them. I own them. I need to give them a rewatch. But that's always been one of my favorite things about the kind of kaiju universe is that you got the original Rodan and then Moth, like they all got their own movies and then they kind of come in together. And the way Manda, even though Manda's never really done much in a Godzilla film, he came from somewhere else.
He's destroyed a bridge, man.
He broke a bridge. So I've always liked that, and I think that's a good point. They could definitely take some they could do.
Veron.
What if they just they could just make a Godzilla or a Mothra versus Batra movie and Godzilla's not even in it, and like explore their like decades old rivalry that they've always had. And, just that would be cool. Give me that. I'll watch anything, dude. Put a monster in it. I'll watch it. Just do it.
I'd love to see a little bit more versatility from Toho and not just have to rely on Godzilla. I think they could, usually when you take a minor monster you have a little bit more flexibility with, like that, if it's Veron or if it is whoever, or Rodan even, like there's so many tropes and things that you have to do with Godzilla or whatever. Like those guys, like you can be even wackier than wacky. And sometimes that turns into like the best stuff. And I think they could do some really cool updated takes on that. And I'd love to see that. Once again, don't know if that's in the cards, but I just, my gut just tells me that Toho, the next round of Godzilla films, the release will look more like a Heisei or Millennium or Showa era, just kind of like classic Godzilla, more so than Shin, which is just an alternate concept and really kind of progressive look at it. But once again, who knows? We could get Shin too. Who knows?
Yeah, and listen, I'm okay with all these options. Like I'm on record saying I like all the weird shit that Toho's doing lately, but I'd also super be into just a straight up fucking, like if it was just that design from the ride. I'm on board. Give it 100%. To me. I'm fine with it.
I just feel like that was a lot of work and stuff put into that ride and the concept and and they did figures off of it. Yeah. I just feel like there's has to be
got to be some plans there. Yeah. There's possibly some plan. We'll see.
That was just to feel kind of, that was like a little focus group to see like people like the ride, like the whatever, are they buying the toys? I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that, but I just feel it was a little bit of a scout ship sent out there to test the waters. Because and the answer to me is yes. Like, let's do that design.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Listen, that was I'm glad we did that.
Yeah.
I feel better.
We level set it on what
that was good. Listen, I think, don't quote me 100%, but I think maybe on the next episode of YHS on Monster Island, we might be digging into TriStar's Godzilla 98.
I love it. Let's do it, man. I mean,
let's do it.
I think it's not that, it's the marketing behind it. There's
toys,
a lot
to talk about. Yeah. There's multiple disasters, not just the movie itself that happened in getting that movie made. A lot of people don't know.
The original designs.
Yeah. The original designs, the fact that they were in production of a movie in the early 90s that fell apart. But luckily that turned in, we wouldn't have gotten Twister if that wouldn't have happened. Do you know that?
I didn't, but that is a great tease.
It's a great tease, and we'll talk about it on the next episode. Of YHS,
and you know what else? You know what else is also? You know what else is cool about?
What's that?
We both have our personal stories with it being released because we were of age and saw it, and that's not. We don't have to talk about something that was 30 years before we were born. So I think that'll be really, really cool as well.
For sure, we're gonna do that in about, let's say, about 2 weeks.
I like that. In 2 weeks, that's a long time for everybody to go and catch up on old episodes of YHS on Monster Island. But I know you already have. So how about this? Go catch up on old episodes of YHS Prime. I mean, if that didn't exist, we don't exist. So I mean, it's that amazing. It's the original. It is, I think, maybe the best and go-to podcast for pop culture, nerd culture, whatever the great films are, whether it's Marvel or whether it's Godzilla or whether it's horror. It doesn't matter. You guys cover it, and you cover it with an authenticity and humor that is unmatched and unparalleled. You and Craig Goldberg and Abigail Gardner, amazing stuff. Or every Tuesday on YouTube, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, Toy Anxiety, the hit sensation Toy Anxiety, because you take you three and then you add in this fourth ingredient to this soup that you guys make, this mole, and you get the kingpin of Canadian collectors, Ryan Dole. You put him in there, and it is just magnifique. It is one of the best shows on YouTube, and I really mean this. I watch a lot of toy shows, and there's some guys that have and gals that have lots of viewers and watchers and people that love them. They don't hold a candle to Toy Anxiety. It's that good. Wow. And then of course you have the Bad Bitches that I don't know how many more episodes they have left on there, but that's a Monday on YouTube, and that's an awesome show about the Bad Batch and even Star Wars in general, and so it's a great one.
Yeah, I think Jay, thank you for all those kind words. I think they're gonna keep going when Bad Batch is over and just
that makes me happy.
Do straight up Star. I think that's the plan. So we'll see, but that's a great show. I'm really proud of everybody in the YHS camp for being able to do what they do. Thank you for those words, Jay.
But watch YHS on Monster Island first before any of the other ones in the universe.
Exactly. It's the most important one. We put the most thought into this show, so watch it all, please. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please let us know you're liking the show. If you don't like it, let us know that too. Please give us some reviews on iTunes. And I don't know, man. You got anything else?
Go buy a toy. No, you guys use that in Toy Anxiety. I'm sorry. Go buy a Kaiju toy.
Go buy a fucking Kaiju toy. Bye, guys.